Hello, and welcome to AGX Media. Today we're joined by a man who has strong beliefs in self-ownership, free markets, and decentralization. He's a renowned author and the founder of Casey Research. I'm speaking, of course, of none other than Doug Casey. But first, if this is your first time joining us, please subscribe to our channel and check out agxpay.com to learn how the power of modern silver money can help you claim your financial freedom. And now to our interview. Doug, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Nick. Thanks.
So before we get too deep into everything, I want to get your outlook on the economy. I know you've been calling for a financial upheaval and you've been quite vocal about that. What's your take now? Could we see a recession in 2020?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's long overdue, and it should have happened years ago at this point. But the state, through the Federal Reserve, has continued to print up hundreds of billions, trillions of currency units, and that's pouring oil on the water. It's allowed the artificial boom, or what looks like a boom, to go on much longer than it should have or otherwise would have. So at this point, although the cracks have been evident in the edifice for some years, there's every chance in the world that 2020, it's going to go over the edge. So hold on to your hat.
Okay, so that being said, how are you protecting your wealth against this potential recession?
Well, for one thing, I'm diversified in a number of ways. For instance, at this moment, I'm speaking to you from Buenos Aires. I live in Argentina and Uruguay most of the year, and it's very important to have political and geographical diversification because you just don't know what can actually happen when things get wild and woolly, as they're going to do. That's one thing. Second thing is stay away from markets that are in bubble territory. That means I have really no interest in the stock market. I have less interest in the bond market, which is in a hyper bubble. And since real estate floats on a sea of debt in the US, Canada, and most of Europe, although I still own a lot, I'm on the sell side of real estate. So what am I really interested in? I will do speculations in the stock market, and I do a lot of precious metals, and especially precious metal mining stocks and commodities. Commodities are the only thing that are cheap right now, so there you have it.
Okay, so I know that things like gold and silver have acted as great safe haven assets in financial turmoil, but now we have a new player with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Do you think cryptos are the safe havens of the future?
Well, I was a late adopter to Bitcoin because I couldn't see the value proposition in it. There are 5 characteristics of a good money, as Aristotle spelled out in the 5th century, 4th century BC. It's got to be durable, it's got to be divisible, it's got to be convenient, it's got to be consistent, and it's got to have use value. I couldn't see the use value of Bitcoin. I thought it was a bubble. But then I went to a conference in Aspen in August of 2017. That's where I live during the northern summer, actually. And it became clear to me it's a transfer mechanism. It's a way to hold a tradable asset without using the banking system and to move it across borders without using the banking system. This is very important because 75% of the people on this planet live in currency-controlled countries of some type or another. So Bitcoin can be very liberating for them from that point of view. So yeah, I am a believer in Bitcoin at this point. But even more so as a speculator in these 2nd and 3rd generation cryptocurrencies. Now, most of the cryptos are frauds or just disasters as far as I'm concerned. But there are some that have real use value, and it's possible. My friend Marco Wutzer, who knows much, much more about this than I do, believes that they have the potential to go 100 to 1 or 1,000 to 1, even from now. Yeah, I'm very much involved in these things.
In addition to that, we also have commodity-backed assets like the AGX coin, which is backed by silver. What's your take on these type of digital currencies? Are they appealing to you as a second and third generation crypto?
I think they can make a lot of sense. The problem that they all will encounter, of course, is that if the crypto is convertible into gold or silver or what have you, the question is, where is that precious metal stored? Is it reliable? The storage of it, and could you have political interference with that? Because this is one of the big advantages of Bitcoin, is that hopefully it's beyond the interference of state entities.
Switching gears a little bit now and looking ahead, I would like to ask you, where are you placing your bets for 2020? What areas do you think have the most potential for the upcoming year?
As a speculator, well, look, I can just let my personal portfolio do the talking. And I'm heavily involved in mining companies, small ones. Now, I hasten to add that mining is about the worst business in the world for many, many reasons. It's not germane to go into right now. But that said, the stocks of small mining companies are the most volatile securities on the face of the planet. And right now they're very, very cheap. And being a bull on the metals, it's a great time to be in them. In the past, when a bull market gets into gear on these things, the whole market for junior miners has gone 10 to 1. With many individual stocks going 100 to 1, some more than that. I think it's going to happen again. We'll see. Anyway, I have a lot of bets in that. So you want one speculation? That's my number one, I guess. And I wouldn't say just gold and silver. I'd say other metals too. The second thing is commodities, soft commodities, coffee, wheat, cocoa, sugar, cattle, hogs especially right now, along a lot of hogs. I think they're great, but trading futures is deadly for newbies. So that's the second recommendation. Third recommendation might be some of these second and third generation cryptos, if you really know what you're doing, but they're very cheap. You can get a lot of bang for the buck. So that and what I said before about staying away from dangerous areas, which are mainly conventional investments.
So Doug, during the month of December, we've launched this special Outlook series about how to redesign your wealth fiat-free. That being said, what are some of the ways that you have successfully built your wealth outside of fiat money? Or at the very least, minimize your dependency on fiat?
Well, it gets back to gold, silver, and crypto again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm sure that all the world's fiat currencies, which are issued by governments, central banks, they're all going to reach their intrinsic value in the years to come. And their intrinsic value is essentially zero. So you've got to move out of these things now while the getting's good.
Any final thoughts for our viewers, Doug? I hear you're working on a new book.
Well, actually, it's the third in a series of 7 novels. I've decided to write novels as opposed to nonfiction because you can say a lot of things in the form of fiction that you dare not say in the form of nonfiction. So the first one, I think, is very relevant to anybody that's interested in the metals and mining shares. That was Speculator. That's available from highgroundbooks.com, as is Drug Lord, where our hero, Charles Knight, becomes a drug lord. And what's interesting about this series is that I'm interested in reforming the unjustly besmirched reputations of highly politically incorrect occupations. So we go from being a speculator, nobody likes speculators, although they're excellent people, as is our hero, to being a drug lord. Nothing wrong with drugs and being a drug lord, as our hero proves. And then the third book, which will be out in April, is Assassin, where he's kind of pissed off at this point, and he decides that some people just need killing. And this is a moral defense of political assassination, but start with Speculator. Also, I urge viewers to go to internationalman.com, it's all one word, .com, internationalman.com, where I do an interview on different subjects, very wide-ranging every week. And the other 6 days of the week, we have very interesting stuff from other sources. So everybody should be on that website.
Doug, thank you for joining us, and take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's all we have for today's interview with the founder of Casey Research, Doug Casey. So glad that you guys can join us. And as always, if this is your first time, please subscribe to our channel and check out agxpay.com to learn how the power of modern silver money can help you claim your financial freedom. This is AGXM, and take care.